Hey guys, it's Core Ross and World 6 News. So today we have Operation Deep Freeze patch notes. So let's jump into these. Of course, we're getting a new operator. Here he is, looking very good. Of course, MPX, AR-15 and all that, and he has a freezing gadget. We've also got a brand new map called Lair, which is just absolutely huge. On the 6 News channel, I've got a tour going around it, and it's unbelievably big. So we got a reputation update. So I'll bring up a little video here with the new version. It's just got a lot more like stats and stuff in it. And it also shows that we're definitely going to get like future rewards for stuff too. So there's going to be very special rewards just for the reputation system, which is great. Moving on from that, we have balancing, and there's two major changes. So the first up here is frag grenades. So the initial fuse time is 4 seconds. Now they say from 5. So I tested, and I've got a video going over this. I tested the old frag grenades and the new frag grenades, and I found the old ones to have a 4-second fuse and the new ones to have a 4-second fuse. So maybe there is something you can do in the old one to get 5 seconds, but it was always 4 seconds for me in testing. And they've also gone and added an impact fuse. This is very important because you might end up getting yourself killed or not realizing that you're in a lot of trouble if you don't know this. So what happens is if you throw a frag grenade, it will take 4 seconds to explode unless it hits a surface, and then the fuse will go down to 2 seconds unless it's already under 2 seconds, of course. This is kind of like Halo. It's also taken the same mechanic used in stun grenades in the game. Now, that's a worry because like if you're sledging, let's say, a roof and dropping a frag grenade on someone, if you bounce it off the ground and then hit it with your sledgehammer, that takes 2 seconds. You will blow up and die. So that tactic is done. You can't do that anymore. So watch out for that. I do have a video going over all the new mechanics with the frag grenades so that you're not going to go blowing yourself up in the new season. But there's a bigger change, I think, than the frag grenade change here, and it's Mira. So Mira's windows can be smashed at range by Ash and Callie. Now, I'm very surprised about this because, of course, we see Ash as being quite a powerful, well-picked operator who's probably one of the most picked operators in the game. Very unusual kind of buff for her to get. They could have just given this to Callie, maybe. So what they're going to be able to do is these gadgets, which can pierce into surfaces and then explode, are going to be able to smash Mira windows at range. Now I thought we'd be able to actually shoot maybe at least the Ash charge. You could normally shoot it quite easily, but on the glass it's indestructible, so that's a no. And the only way to counter this is to have the Mira window electrified by having it on a reinforced wall which has a banded battery or a kite on it. So just interesting overall. I don't know how dramatic this is going to be until we get to play with it. I think it'll be dramatic, but I don't know at this point. I'm not confident. We'll see. Now we've also got the Rainbow Six Siege Marketplace beta. This will launch in year 9, and this actually gives us this screenshot gives us a bit more information because I don't know how exactly it's going to work. Like, can you just list stuff at your own specific prices or what? It's all going to be web-based, but this does give us an idea. So we can see the skin here. We can see that it's a rare, and we've got these figures here. We can see that this is the last sold at. Now, they're going to sell all this stuff at R6 credits. This is a weird symbol for R6 credits. But considering we can see item name here, this is all placeholder, but it might at least give us an idea. So last item sold, obviously the price. Current price range, obviously a current price range here. And then sale orders here. So I don't know if this means if you buy this skin, you'll always get the cheapest one or what. It's going to be interesting to see how this system works indeed. And like I said in my video about this on the 6 News channel, I'm probably going to just like sell all my Ash and Sledge stuff because I don't play them and they're the two most popular operators in the game. So I'm curious if I can just make a ton of R6 credits from their skins. Like, is that going to work or not? So yeah, this is the biggest surprise for me of the whole reveal, but looking forward to seeing what it's like. Very worried that it might be used for nefarious purposes, but we'll see. Then up next, we've got the AI playlist. So again, I've got a full video on this. I actually went and played the new AI playlist against the bots to see what they were like, how they moved. And it's very interesting. This is actually one of the most hyped things for this season for me because I'm just curious if this technology will evolve to be really cool or what. Now, I've got a dedicated video going over that if you want to see it. I've got a ton of dedicated videos and everything right now. So there'll be links in the description below to all that stuff if you want to see exactly how everything is working in the new season. Now, it is limited. The enemy are a specific squad of operators. You're also limited in what operators you can bring to the match, which is a real pity, but that's all going to expand in time. So we'll see. But right now, the opponents for defense is Capcan, Valkyrie, Smoke Mute, and Bandit. Where on attack, you can pick Recruit, Sledge, Glaz, Thermite, Thatcher, and IQ. And there's only a defender playlist so far, which means you play as attackers against defenders. In the future, there will also be an attacker playlist where you're playing as a defender against the attackers. They also claim that this new AI system is the reason that they're getting rid of situations and terrorist hunt. Now, my hope is that situations will be replaced with a story mode eventually of some sort using maybe this AI playlist. Because think about it, what if you could have these characters playing, but they have custom DMS outfits or, henchmen for DMS on and running around doing their thing with kind of like with a ripped off version of all these operators' gadgets. And I can see that being turned into a kind of simple kind of story mode with maybe a couple of cutscenes in between or something like that to give something interesting which would replace situations. But yeah, sad to see situations go. Training guides, which is called, of course, Terrorist Hunt by a lot of people, is also gone. This is not the replacement for Terrorist Hunt, the AI playlist. We'll talk about what is further down. It's not a one-to-one replacement, but there is something else that's better for, this isn't as useful as Terrorist Hunt for like warming up. Then we got map training. So this is what is kind of replacing Terrorist Hunt. So there's two versions of map training. There is a landmark drill, which means you load up into a map. It's only currently available on layer, but the idea is it's all about learning maps. So you go in, it tells you to go to some place, you find your way there, you kill enemies as you go. They're all just the yellow dummies. And once you get to the landmark, you find it, then it gives you another landmark, you head off to that, you kill enemies on your way, and you get to the next landmark, and you just kind of learn the map. And I think it just goes on forever, it never stops. So you can just continually do that until you learn the map, and you're of course warming up your aim as well. But the one that actually replaces Terrorist Hunt, I think, is this one, which is Target Drill. Very similar to this one, but you don't have a specific place to go, and you just have enemies constantly everywhere, so you can warm up your aim. The problem is they don't move, and they're all yellow dummies. I would be happy if they were like a variation of colors or something like that as well, but this is your replacement for Terrorist Hunt. Terrorist Hunt and Situations both being deleted is another big surprise this season for sure. But I do hope it leads to something better, using the AI to do some sort of cool story-based thing or something. Like I'm hoping, but of course that could just be hopeful thinking that isn't going to lead to anything. Up next we got player comfort. So controller remapping is coming. This means you can completely customize your input controls for controller in-game. Really good. They've also improved the dead zones. You can now take it down to 0, which is great. If you've got a brand new controller and you want to be as precise as possible, you want dead zones down to 0 if possible. So love that. Now they're also adding in the leaning ability in mid-season. Remember this. So it's going to come to the controller remapping here, but it is coming in mid-season. It's not coming straight away. This means though, you have to give something up, because right now all the buttons on the controller are used for something in Siege. So of course, to lean, you're going to have to remap something. Now you could also make it maybe 2 buttons that get pressed at the same time or something like that, but they're going to have to ditch something to get that leaning behavior on controller. And you can't like add paddles or something to add inputs, because a controller on both platforms doesn't allow you to actually add inputs to a thing. They just add paddles, which are already the buttons that are there. So we'll see how this plays. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure. They've also upped the amount of spectators you can have in the game. This is good for the Pro League and stuff like that, getting more angles and stuff. And if you're doing like custom games, it's really handy to have. Operator balancing, so this is the more generic stuff down here. So of course we went over the Mira change, where Ash and Callie can now smash them at range. We've also got Osa, so she is losing her smoke grenades, gaining frags. Of course, a lot of operators getting frags because they're now less powerful because they cannot be cooked anymore. But a lot more are going to have them, and I think that's going to be good for those operators. Capadal's getting an EMP, so he's gaining, he's not losing anything. We've got Lion, who's getting a EMP replaced with frag grenades and also losing the gun set. Grim's losing his breaching charge and gaining EMP impact grenades. IQ is gaining frag grenades. I am worried about this one. That could be a problem because of course you can see them and blow them up now. Blackbeard is also losing the EMP impacts, gaining frags. Sens is gaining frag grenades, losing the gun 6. This could be quite a good option for Sense, so I'll be curious to see how that goes. Now, Maestro here is interesting, so there's a few things to take away from this. So he's getting more Evil Eyes from 2 to 3. Now, these 2 bullet points I'm not sure about. So it says increase cooldown to 6 seconds from 5, so that's a nerf, and increased active time to 6 seconds from 5. So I believe this means you can fire the lasers longer for 1 second more. And this, if you overheat the lasers, it'll take a second longer to cool down. I think that's what it means. This part, though, is interesting because it says drilling projectiles will shatter the bulletproof glass when exploding if they hit on the glass. Now, this is really interesting because this, of course, is Ash and Callie, right? Who both have projectiles that can drill into glass and smash them. This bullet point makes no goddamn sense because both those gadgets explode, destroying Maestro's turrets, even if they're not directly attached to it. So this makes no sense, which makes me think there's a future operator who's going to have a drilling projectile which will be able to go into surfaces and smash things like Mira windows, like Maestro turrets. However, it will not explode because that's the only reason that this should shatter and not be destroyed, because the current ones we have that are drilling projectiles explode, destroying it. So I'm guessing there's an attacker coming maybe next season who's going to have some sort of drilling projectile. That's my guess, but I won't go boom. Now, weapon balancing. So we got a couple of changes. The 552 Commando damage has been decreased to 43 from 47, and stronger recoil on the vertical and horizontal. Now, this is probably kind of because the extended barrel made this gun incredibly good, and I guess they decided they're going to add a little bit of recoil in there just for safety's sake too. Of course, frag grenade, removing the ability to cook, and they're going to have that initial fuse of 4 seconds, and they say from 5. I did not get that in my testing. And then added the stun grenade cooking system where they have an impact fuse that takes down to 2 seconds, as we went over earlier. Now let's talk tweaks and improvements. So this is all kind of the smaller stuff. We've got a bunch of UI fixes. You can see that we've got some playlist updates. So in Quick Match, they said they were going to add more maps as they got their pre-setups sorted out. So what's getting added into Quick Match on top of the stuff that's already there is Hereford, Plain, Yacht, Fortress, Emerald Plains, Stadium, Nighthaven Lamps, and Lair. So that's all getting added into Quick Match. And they're also revisiting the pre-setup, so expect them to be different this season. Then we've got the standard map pool, so this is also being updated. This is now going to reflect ranked. So you can kind of think of this as going back towards the unranked that it used to be. So Oregon, Clubhouse, Consulate, Bank, Canal, Chalet, Cafe, Border, Skyscraper, Coastline, Theme Park, Villa, Outback, Emerald Plains, Nighthaven Labs, and Lair are all being added into standard. And of course, when it comes to the ranked pool, we're gaining Lair, we are removing Stadium. So Stadium is gone from ranked. Stadium is also getting added in to every single playlist, so like Free For All, Deathmatch, Golden Gun, Weapon Roulette, and it's also unbannable as well. And we've got one other thing, which is that per permanent arcade, they're adding impact grenades and Oryx hatch climb ability to all operators in free-for-all game modes. So you'll be able to use impact grenades and climb up hatches with Oryx's ability. We got a couple of feature updates too. So AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution 2.0 is being added in. So that'll be an option that you can use. Then we've also got the download size. So this is going to be a big update, 50 gigabyte. However, it means the install size will go from 70 down to 50. So it's going to take up less room on your console, your PC, and it's just going to be a massive, basically fresh download of 50 gigs to get it going. But yeah, that is our patch notes for the new season. I think this is a good season so far. I know that everyone's going to hate stuff like the frag grenade change, the Mira change, but I kind of see it like Frost. Like that Frost mat thing was like hyped out to be such a kind of devastating change for Frost, and I feel like it's done absolutely nothing. I feel like with grenades and stuff like that, it's also going to just end up being nothing. The Siege community gets a little bit up in arms about everything, and then everything ends up actually being fine. So we'll see how it all plays out. And yeah, the features like the AI playlist and stuff like that, that's stuff that I'm really excited to see how that's going to play out. Oh yeah, and the launch date for the new season is November 28th. So the date has been given. It is coming out November 28th. In conclusion, from my point of view, I see this as being the biggest season for content this year, and I'm kind of surprised by that, but it also means the other seasons this year were a little bit weak on content overall. So it's not exactly a big bonus to say this is the bigger content season. And then there's a lot of cool features that I like, I think I'm going to enjoy, but we'll see how it all plays out. The actual changes are going to very much, I think, mix things up, which is always a good thing to me. That's what I love about Siege. And stuff like the frag grenade change is just going to completely change how the game is played in a lot of ways. But we'll see how it all plays out. And thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.